You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020, middle of the weekday, hump day, starting that long, slow ride. You can't hear me? This was all working before. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me now. All right. Anyway, welcome to our show. It's Wednesday, August 19th, 2020, and we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about news until we run out of news, and then we're going to open up the phone lines for your comments, questions, observations, and opinions. And Julie is in our control room today, twiddling our dials and keeping us out of trouble, and we'll be answering the phones a little bit later in the program. Okay. So anyway, the DNC convention, which continues tonight, is being brutally mocked online. There's this one article that came out of dailywire.com saying one of the worst things that's ever been on television. And former Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson wrote, "I wanted to like it. I really did. I promise I did. But apparently it's not going across very well. It's coming across, like I said yesterday, it looks like a telethon, fundraising telethon. And it lacks the excitement of a real convention. So hopefully the Republicans are studying what's going on and they're going to make some last minute changes to their presentation next week, because so far this really isn't working. Anyway, as of last night, Biden was officially nominated as the Democratic candidate. And so he will be the 46th U.S. president potentially on November 3rd. Biden's nomination at the virtual Democratic National Convention might have been unconventional, but it went off without a hitch. He reached the required 1,991 votes at 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the delegation from his home state of Delaware cast all of its 32 votes for him. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got just 60 seconds at the DNC, didn't mention Biden, but did second the nomination for Bernie Sanders. Now, that was pro forma because Bernie Sanders had enough delegates where he would be put into the nomination field. Alexandria praised his fight for social, economic, and human rights, but later on congratulated Joe Biden in a tweet. A lot of people were complaining that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually got more time, or actually got less time than some of the Republicans who were invited to speak at the Democratic convention here. Apparently, at one point, Joe Biden introduced himself as Joe Biden's husband while he was hugging his wife, and apparently forgot that he was first inaugurated as vice president back in 2009. So obviously questions about his mental fitness continue to circulate, and Jill Biden snapped when asked if it's okay to debate Joe Biden's cognitive ability. She described it as, "It's ridiculous," and said, no, it's not okay for President Trump to bring up Biden's cognitive abilities. Now, Bill Clinton tore into Donald Trump, accusing him of spending hours a day watching TV, calling his Oval Office chaos, and saying America leads the world in unemployment in the wake of COVID as he backs Joe Biden as the get-to-work president. I don't think Bill Clinton should be accusing anybody of misbehaving in the Oval Office, considering the Monica Lewinsky situation. Okay? Talk about misbehaving in the Oval Office. Stephen Colbert slammed Bill Clinton for his DNC speech that lectured Trump on the Oval Office behavior, and reminds him that, yes, he was also impeached. And apparently this all happened on the same day. An embarrassing photo of him being massaged by one of Jeff Epstein's victims emerged. Okay, Bill Clinton went on to say, at a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. And again, let he who is without sin cast the first aspersion here. So let's see, Republican Anna Paulina Luna wins the primary in Florida's 13th district, will face Democrat Charlie Crist in November. Laura Loomer wins the Florida congressional primary, and Trump congratulates her on winning the primary for a district that covers Mar-a-Lago after she called Ilhan Omar anti-Jewish and slammed Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey for suspending her account. Longtime Democrat Leo Terrell announces he is supporting President Trump for 2020. And that was on Sean Hannity on Fox News. He's a frequent guest contributor and usually roots for the Democrats, but now he's rooting for Donald Trump. All right. We have now had the release of the Senate intelligence report, and depending upon who you ask, it shows that there was collusion or there was not collusion between the Trump camp and the Russians. Brennan lashes out at Senator Rubio following the release of the Senate intel report, concluding no collusion between Trump camp and the Russians. And another report, this one from justthenews.com, Senate intelligence report finds no Russian collusion, FBI handling of the probe flawed. So Carter Page is out there saying it was all false conspiracy theories and made up lies that were paid for by the Democrats. So the big question now is, Clinesmith has pled guilty to altering that one document regarding Carter Page's involvement with the CIA. And major media has downplayed the significance of former FBI lawyer Kevin Clinesmith's guilty plea, acknowledging he altered an official document in the government's Trump-Russia collusion probe. There has been some coverage, mainly because it is so rare to see FBI agents charged with a felony and because it is the first tangible result of U.S. Attorney John Durham's sprawling investigation of the investigators. But mainstream news outlets have minimized its importance. It's only one count, they say, and deals with a relatively minor crime by a mid-level figure. That's spin, and it's all wrong. The plea is like finding water seeping from the base of a dam. The problem is not one muddy puddle. The problem is it foreshadows the dam's failure, releasing a torrent. That's what the Clinesmith plea portends. And he wasn't mid-level, he was top-level. Fortunately, the judge overseeing the case is an Obama-appointed head of the FISA court, Judge James Boasberg. So there's going to be some interference on that particular level here. Now, on the other side, you've got the Democrats that are out there saying, well, the Senate report says that Donald Trump was being friendly with Vladimir Putin. And the Senate intelligence report reveals Donald Trump's letters to Putin, praising him and begging him to come to Miss Universe. And on the basis of that, the Democrats are saying, see, there was collusion. He was being friendly with Putin. Well, if you remember, when Donald Trump first took office, we were still all friendly with Russia, more or less. And as a world leader, you'd sort of expect him to be on hopefully good terms with other world leaders. But this doesn't prove collusion. It proves that we're pen pals at most. Somebody brought up this 2016 video showing a mail carrier in Delaware was caught stealing Trump signs from a yard, and we're supposed to trust them with our votes? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Okay. Congress and the Senate have adjourned until September, although Pelosi is trying to call the House back to fund the post office, but not the coronavirus stimulus. And that means the coronavirus relief package is still many weeks away. As a result, a growing number of Americans are calling for a general strike. The topic is trending on social media. We could wind up like Belarus, the way things are going here. Over in Portland, multiple companies are planning to move out of the downtown office spaces because the ongoing Black Lives Matter protests have made the area unsafe, with reports of widespread vandalism and workers being attacked. So a number of these companies in downtown Portland are getting ready to vacate or sell their offices because ongoing protests against police brutality have led to unsafe conditions. Over in Great Britain, there was a video at a Black Lives Matter protest in Parliament Square. Radical activists proclaimed they are not loyal to Britain because the alleged institutional racism they see as inherent in the United Kingdom's capitalist system. And apparently, in a Breitbart London exclusive video, a speaker at a Black Lives Matter protest said Britain is a racist country, and if you disagree with that, then you're not anti-racist. It's a rather loose logic there. Anyway, the activist who wore a T-shirt honoring the mass-murdering Cuban communist revolutionary Che Guevara asked the crowd of demonstrators, "Are you loyal to Britain?" And the BLM protesters screamed back, "No," in response. Things are getting really kind of scary out there. All righty, let's talk about the coronavirus, COVID-19. That's still out there. Apparently, a Soros-backed bioethicist says people who refuse a coronavirus vaccine should lose their job or be imprisoned. Getting very, very serious there. Experts, meanwhile, are suggesting medicating the water supply for lockdown compliance, probably lithium or something like that, or possibly more fluoride, which is a mild tranquilizer. But they basically want to drug your water so that you'll sit at home and not worry about coronavirus. Dov Fox, a Soros fellow who currently works as director of the Center of Health Law Policy and Bioethics at the San Diego EDU, has come out to claim that people who refuse vaccination for the Wuhan virus could lose their jobs or even be sent to jail. According to Fox, who's said to be a bioethics expert, it's completely legal and constitutional for state governments to fine, imprison, or deny employment to people who say no to the jabs, no matter the reason. I disagree. If you have one inalienable right, it's over your own body. Turning to the international news here, Turkey, Qatar, Libya's GNA agree to establish a Turkish naval base in Misrata. And this is in Libya. This is according to the Al Arabiya TV channel, citing sources. Turkish and Qatari defense ministers Hulusi Akar and Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah arrived in Tripoli on Monday. The ministers held meetings with the leaders of the government, Libya's High Council of State, as well as the government's Interior Minister, Fatih Bashaga. Okay. Now, here's something that's got to be a little bit thrilling for the person it happened to. Over in Florida, there was a contractor working at a Florida airport, opened up a shipping container and found a live French S-530 air-to-air missile inside the shipping container. And the Air Force bomb squad was called in to disarm and remove it. Nobody knows how it got there or where it was going. Meanwhile, U.S. Customs has intercepted a Venezuela-bound private jet in Florida loaded with 82 firearms, including a sniper rifle, 63,000 rounds of ammunition, and has charged the two pilots with smuggling. Over in Great Britain, the HMS Trent, Britain's $130 million warship, has had to basically duck out of the NATO's Operation Sea Guardian due to an unidentified defect. Apparently, he had some kind of a breakdown at sea and is heading back to port. Now, every 2 years out in the Pacific around Hawaii, they have what's called RIMPAC, the Rim of the Pacific. It's the world's largest naval exercise, and I got to see it up close and personal when I was living on Oahu, and it really was quite spectacular. This year, well, it's scaled down because of restrictions pertaining to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. In this case, the sailors from the ships from other countries are not going to be allowed on shore. And it's around a third of the expected countries and a fifth of the usual personnel. So it really is kind of small, which is a shame. One of the fun things about RIMPAC was getting to see and meet all these people from other countries. They were floating around the tourist areas here. Over in Belarus, the president is saying no new elections until you kill him. I don't know if he's got a death wish or he's simply telegraphing the fact that he thinks he might be assassinated. Lukashenko is saying NATO is at the gates. Remember yesterday they were talking about a military exercise at the western border. Well, it looks like it's more than just an exercise. There are unconfirmed reports that Belarus embattled President Lukashenko is ordering troops deployed on the country's western border with full combat readiness. This follows his provocatively telling supporters that NATO is at the gates while reaffirming that he wouldn't let Belarus' fate be dictated from the outside, as both mass protests and widespread strikes threaten his continued rule after the contested August 9th election, which many charged was rigged. NATO troops are at our gates. Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, and Ukraine are ordering us to hold new elections, he told supporters. He further alleged that NATO tanks and aircraft were deployed a mere 15 minutes from the Belarusian border, something which NATO denies. Down in Syria, a Russian general has been killed, 2 troops injured in a roadside blast. The incident is said to have taken place at Deir ez-Zor province, northeastern Syria. A Russian major general was killed and 2 troops were injured in Syria after vehicles they were traveling in were hit by an improvised explosive device. The blast is said to have taken place near the Al-Taim oil field, about 15 kilometers outside the city of Deir ez-Zor. All righty, now there is a local Arab uprising in northeastern Syria, which is serious enough where it might wipe out the U.S. forces and their Syrian Democratic Forces proxies out of the region. U.S. bases and personnel have been increasingly attacked by unidentified actors in Syria over the past several months. Political analyst Christopher Assad and U.S. military veteran Mark Sloboda have shed light on the trouble brewing for U.S. occupation forces in the northeastern Syrian provinces of al-Hasaka and Deir ez-Zor. In early August, the U.S. base in the town of Ash-Shadadi, my mistake, in al-Hasaka province, was shelled by unknown militants. At the end of May, a military convoy of U.S. troops and the Kurdish-dominated Syrian Democratic Forces were reportedly attacked by unidentified fighters in Deir ez-Zor. So it looks like things are still heating up there. Israel has launched a week-long bombing campaign in Gaza amid the ongoing war crimes investigation. Okay, apparently Monday night, Israeli fighter jets executed airstrikes on the besieged Gaza Strip for the 9th night in a row in an act that may be another on Israel's long list of possible war crimes. Israeli leaders characterized the actions as retaliatory, naming Gazan incendiary balloons and riots as justification. This is just the latest in what corporate media generally depicts as a protracted conflict between the militant group Hamas and Israel after months of calm. 5 Gazans have been killed in 2020. Israel has shot at farmers and fishermen hundreds of times. No Israelis have been killed. Now, here's an interesting story, and it's one that we need to pay attention to. There's this pro-Israel lobbyist in Scotland, Edward Sutherland, and he's got a teaching job at the Belmont Academy in Ayr. And it turns out that he was faking a series of anti-Semitic posts and apparently has been faking anti-Semitism for years so that Israel supporters could say, see, there's anti-Semites out there and we need money and special protection. And it was all a fake. It was all a hoax. And this guy may lose his teaching job for this fake. I think it'd be a good idea. Okay, the United States Space Force is going to begin sharing valuable space situational awareness data with the United Kingdom as part of Operation Olympic Defender. Under a recently signed agreement, the Space Force will share its standardized astrodynamics algorithm library with Britain's Ministry of Defense. SAAL is a collection of Space Force's understandings of orbital physics and algorithms that helps the service predict the trajectories of objects on orbit or in orbit. Okay, on Friday, the United Nations Security Council rejected a U.S. draft resolution to indefinitely extend the UN arms embargo against Iran, which is set to expire in October. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the decision scandalous, while senior U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham claimed it makes a major conflict with Iran much more likely. I noticed that Pompeo is getting ready to go back to the Security Council to extend the sanctions against Iran, and I don't think he's going to meet much success with that either. But the United States and Israel are already preparing for a scenario in which Russia sells advanced air defense systems such as the S-400 to Iran, including by conducting drills involving the destruction of advanced surface-to-air missile threats. And that will be a shooting war, no question about it here. Okay, let's talk about Shadowgate. Shadowgate is this documentary that it's been pulled down from Facebook. It's been pulled down from YouTube. It keeps getting reposted to YouTube. YouTube will pull it down again. It's up on YouTube. It's up on Band Video. We have linked to it to several platforms. Okay, we're going to take a break for commercials. More about Shadowgate when we come back.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719 extension 3. 800-724-2719 extension 3.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Some have maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our show here, and a friendly reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network and WhatReallyHappened.com are always in the middle of a perpetual fundraising campaign here, and we do need your help to stay on the air doing what we're doing. We don't have any corporate angels or philanthropists who are piling huge amounts of money all over us, usually with requests that we lie to you. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. All right, so we're getting on back to Shadowgate, and Shadowgate was this documentary that was put forward, produced by one of the InfoWars reporters, who was rather interestingly enough arrested on the same day the documentary came out, and is out on her own recognizance now. And it's kind of a mystery why she was arrested. Supposedly it had to do with a domestic disturbance with her mother, but the mother had dropped all charges and wants to know, what's going on here. Supposedly there's a sealed indictment, but nobody knows what's in it. And millions of people have looked at this video already, despite the best efforts of the established social media to suppress it. They're looking. So now we're seeing the corporate media attack it. And there was this article that came out of USA Today. Fact check: Shadowgate video spreads misinformation, conspiracy theories about major events. Now, there's no fact checking in there. Okay. It's just what they don't want you to see. Now, I've gotten emails from people who've watched the documentary. They say it's quite an eye-opener. I've watched part of it myself. Yeah, just the fact that they don't want you to see it is a good reason to hunt it down and watch the thing. We're working on getting a local copy here that we can put on our server so that it can't be taken down. All right, let's talk about the economic news now. Square gets into the loan sharking business with 65% annual prime rate short-term loans here. And if you're desperate for $20 and $200, it probably means your kids are hungry or need medication. Your friends at Square are there to help. Square's peer-to-peer payment service, Cash App, is testing a new feature that offers loans between $20 and $200. You have 4 weeks to pay the loan back at 5% interest. If you miss the payment, you get a 1-week grace. After that, Square will add 1.25% interest every week. That turns out to be a 65% annual interest rate, fortunately non-compounding. Talk about vulture capitalism here. Gold's tailwinds remain poised to push prices higher in 2020. Meanwhile, China is warning about the collapse of the US dollar, which seems headed for a 2-year low right now. China's top banking watchdog cautioned that US dollar dominance, combined with the massive stimulus unleashed by the Federal Reserve, could push the world to the edge of another financial crisis. In a rare act of public criticism, China Banking Regulatory Commission Chairman Gao Shungying also lashed out at developed nations seeking to divert blame from their own failures to contain the virus outbreak and moves by the US to blacklist Chinese companies and entities. Okay. And this is kind of like a sad moment, I guess you could say. After some 50 million miles, the first of British Airways' remaining 747s will be taken out of service. It's leaving Heathrow Airport for Spain, where it will be scrapped. It's kind of the end of an era then. And apparently they're saying this is because of the coronavirus pandemic. They can't keep these jets filled up. And so they're going to speed up the scrapping of its 31-strong 747 fleet. And the first of the last remaining jumbos to be retired was pictured taking off from Heathrow Airport today on its final journey. It flew empty to Spain, where it will be scrapped. Now, it is the end of an era. It really is here. Okay, over in Switzerland, in the town of Olten, they had a rather weird snowstorm hit. It was a snowstorm of cocoa powder, and apparently a malfunction of the ventilation system at a Lindt chocolate factory, combined with strong winds, left cocoa nibs scattered around the factory vicinity. So the Swiss town was covered in chocolate after a malfunction at the Lindt factory. Well, Switzerland chocolate kind of goes together here. Okay, we're going to open the phone lines now, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. And everything the left touches, it ruins. Now add science. This is very weird. Okay, the left's attacks are on objectivity, the most essential value in science, the very thing that makes science possible. The left has declared objectivity, which it puts in quotation marks, a characteristic of white supremacy. So if you are objective, you are a white supremacist. That really is getting very silly. It's also very dangerous. Got to take a break for commercial. Join us on the air. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company, and it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks?
When pigs fly,
The new EaseOff Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my ease off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women.
Welcome back to our show here, and the phone lines are loading up, and we're going to start with Jim in Illinois. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Michael, before I get to my question, you mentioned that yesterday on Sean Hannity program, someone endorsed Trump. Who was that person?
Oh, I can't recall off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, and this is a constitutional question. If something was to happen to Joe Biden, let's say he passed away between now and November, who would be the nominee for the Democrats?
Well, I presume under the law of succession, I mean, if he still won the election on November 3rd, then automatically Kamala Harris would become president.
Okay, but let's say he died before November 3rd.
There have been precedents before where candidates have died before the election and still won the election. And in a couple of cases, the wives took over, members of Congress and so forth. I guess it probably would throw the Democrats into a little bit of chaos.
A big time, unless they decided to put Bernie in there or Hillary.
Oh, heaven forbid!
That's what I said. And finally, yesterday you had a caller, Paul from New Jersey, talking about Senator Harris' record as the Attorney General in California. But if you really look at her her criminal prosecution, the Supreme Court of California, they went after her several times because she violated the rights of a lot of prisoners.
Yes.
You know, and like you mentioned yesterday, why didn't she go after the priests that were being accused of sexual behavior towards minors?
I don't know. I don't know what her religion is, if she's Catholic or what. Yeah, that's very obvious. I mean, this was a time when most of the states were going after these pedophile priests, and she had something like I think 50 different complaints, and she didn't act on any of them.
Right. Well, Michael, that's it. You take care.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Al in Canada. Hello, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Yeah, you were. I hadn't seen you for a few days, so I was just curious. When you were talking about that Shadowgate, the fact that there's stuffing there that the establishment doesn't want you to see. As soon as you said that, it reminded me of you remember that mosque shooting, that Christchurch?
Yes.
They actually made it illegal to watch it.
Yes.
Well, that made me want to watch it even more. And, I don't know whether you talked about this. I can't remember. But the reason why they didn't want people to watch it is because they could see the truth, that it was a hoax.
Yes.
And even a friend of mine believed it because of, when he got into his car and he drove off and he ran over that woman that he had gunned down. I said to my friend, I said, yeah, but what you don't notice is that car didn't go bumpity bump bump like it was going over like bones and stuff. It was nice and smooth, like it was a wax figure.
Yeah.
So this Shadowgate, I'm on USA Today, and they actually say that it's filled with false claims and insinuations, centering on the notion that a cabal of federal contractors is using advanced data collection techniques to engineer global events and orchestrate a coup against President Trump. That's what happened.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. With false claims and insinuations. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, as you always say. You cannot make this up.
No,
That's
you
exactly
can't.
what they did.
Yeah.
My
And
God.
you can almost smell the panic over there at USA Today.
Yeah. I often wonder who writes this rubbish, and it's just absolute rubbish. My favorite thing is what they'll do is they'll take something that Donald Trump has said, like a 5-minute, maybe out of a 5-minute video or 10 or even, like an hour, whatever it is. And they take something that he said at one point in time, and then they, after about 10 minutes, they'll piece it together with something else he said at another point in time, totally unrelated, and piece it together to make it seem like, that, what was it? As far as, this pandemic, it is what it is. That's not what he said. That's not what he said at all.
No.
Like he can say some really silly things sometimes, like he speaks to God and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anybody that thinks they speak to God and they get an answer should seriously go seek medical help.
Yeah,
Seriously.
if you talk to God, that's prayer. If God talks back, that's schizophrenia.
Oh yeah, that's or worse. Maybe something worse, right? Anyway, that's all I have, Mike. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing
I
good.
hope you're okay. I noticed you weren't there for a couple of days, so anyway, hope everything's all right. Hey, Mike, listen, I got a proposal. I mean, this is tongue in cheek, but we have to have a change in the Constitution. But all this fuss now about, I see Pompeo open this big fat face and mouth about Lukashenko over there in Belarus. Well, I got a proposal. Make a trade, like you do in sports. Let's make a trade. I'm willing to throw in Trump, Pence, Biden, and Harris for Lukashenko. We make him our president, and they can do what they want with those four. Okay, since they don't like Lutsenko anymore. Lutsenko's the only guy, the only one in Eastern Europe after the fall of the Soviet Union that kept his country mostly socialist and didn't let the predators come in from around the world, you know, bringing their form of predatory capitalism into the country and ruin the countries. They just about did to Russia and Ukraine and other countries. And on top of that, with all this COVID nonsense, he said he told them basically he told the rest of the world where to go. And he said, just drive your tractors and drink vodka and you'll be fine. And I noticed with all the demonstrations and riots and whatever was going on there, neither the pro or anti-Lutsenko demonstrators are wearing masks. You here and there, but for the most part, no. Most people aren't there. And it seems to me that, and this is something nobody wants to seem to report, is that they had very low amounts of COVID-19 over in, if they had any at all, in Belarus. Of course, the cases don't mean anything if there's no sickness to go with it, you know. So I mean, I take Lutsenko right now, be our president for a while. He may be kind of a dictator, but you know he doesn't seem to be all that bad. And his police are no more brutal than ours. I see they're not shooting directly into the crowds or nothing like that. They are beating a few people, but you know, what do you think goes on in this country too, right? So
yes,
that's my thing. You know, I know it's tongue in cheek, but really, they don't want him. They don't want him over there. Give him to us, and we'll give you the 4 clowns that are running for president here in the United States. And again, I will have to vote for Trump only because the alternative is unacceptable. So, hi, that's it, Mike. Thanks. I hope you're okay.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot for the phone call here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Now, over at Albion College, which is located in Albion, Michigan, they were getting ready to try a new experiment where students would be required to download a phone application that tracks their location and private health data at all times in an attempt to protect them from COVID-19. This provoked a serious backlash, and as of right now, the program is basically on hold. But at one point, they were saying it was going to be mandatory, and they wanted to create what they called a COVID-19 bubble on campus, and to stay within the school's 4.5-mile perimeter for the entire semester. If a student leaves the campus, the app would notify the administration and the student would be suspended. That has been put on hold now. Okay, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut have now added Alaska and Delaware to the mandatory quarantine list. If you are coming from Alaska to or Delaware to those 3 states, you will have to go through a mandatory quarantine. By the way, we put up this article here that was sent in to us earlier today. Apparently over in Uganda, they're using hydroxychloroquine and erythromycin, I can't even pronounce it, and zinc. And apparently they're getting a huge success in terms of dealing with coronavirus. Anyway, let's see. NASA is very concerned because there's a growing weak spot in Earth's magnetic field that could split in 2. Now, this would cause a real problem in that, first of all, the magnetic field shields Earth from deadly solar radiation. Second of all, compasses would start to misbehave, especially around the area of the split. And, you know, compasses are sort of considered the most basic navigation tool. But if compasses start acting funny, I mean, yes, there's GPS and it's various competitors out there now. But it's going to cause some issues here. Let's see. Okay. All righty. Now, California has confirmed their first case of plague in 5 years. California health officials have reported that a resident of South Lake Tahoe has tested positive for plague, marking the first such case in the state in half a decade. The individual is recovering at home. It is believed that the person was infected by a flea while walking their dog. El Dorado County's Health and Human Services Agency said in a statement. The individuals being treated by medical professionals but did not require hospitalization. An investigation into the matter is still ongoing. Boy, California can't catch a break. Got the plague now, got those fires. The uncommon but potentially lethal bacterial disease is usually transmitted by fleas found on infected squirrels and other rodents in the world. Plague can be treated with antibiotics if detected in an early stage. The state has gone for several years without a confirmed case of plague. The last instance in 2015 involved 2 people who contracted the disease at Yosemite National Park. Both individuals made a full recovery. All righty. Microsoft is ending support of Internet Explorer. It's been around for 25 years, and in 2021, the support for Internet Explorer will basically disappear, and I guess they're going to move forward with Edge. Elon Musk hails SpaceX Raptor engine as it breaks pressure chamber record without exploding, bringing Starship rocket one step closer to Mars. This is a new milestone. And good for Elon Musk. And we're going to go back to the phones here to Mark in New York. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Good to talk to you once again.
Thank
you.
You
still sound getting better all the time. I had 2
That's
issues.
what the doctors tell
One
me.
dealing with. I didn't quite hear you, but I'll continue.
I said that's what the doctors tell me.
Yes, and I concur with your doctors. But going forward, one thing I was having a little barbecue this weekend, trying to get some people over. I had one friend just scared to go out. He lives in an apartment. He says one woman has this lung ailment now for 4 months from COVID, and I said, I think she may not be telling you the whole secret. And then he didn't want to come over because he's afraid to leave. He's afraid of getting people sick. I said, well, you don't have to touch the doorway. You don't have to use the elevator when you leave your place. You can just wear the mask the whole time. You shouldn't be so, I don't think you should be that scared, just to get out of the house. But then he also had this shingles theory saying that like chickenpox, maybe down in a couple of decades later, you may come down with some shingles or something from chickenpox. And he says, with this COVID thing, the virus, and you may get something like that. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I just think have you heard any talk about that?
No, not at all. And I think he's succumbing to the fear.
Yeah, I just haven't heard, but it is strange that you can get, I know one person out of maybe 50 that had shingles or something, and I didn't know it was from chickenpox. So he's very concerned, and he passed up on some great smoked brisket, came out all right, a little overcooked, but it's still good. But go forward, too. I really wanted to call about, I see this constant free healthcare, free education. Now, I just looked up on Wiki just to get that site, but it's a list of countries by tertiary education.
Yes.
Tertiary does not have an SH in it for you guys thinking of going to college. But I'm just thinking that it would turn into, I'm thinking free health care. You walk into the office, you see the doctor, great. You're in, you're out. But I believe with this tertiary education, you have to work. You can flunk out. Now, does that mean that they're going to change I just think the bottom line is that they'll have Frisbee majors,
Yes.
That if you get in, that'll be like high school. That'll be a Bernie. I went to Bernie school. There's going to be a difference where it's going to be the same thing now where they're going to have charter colleges. Or if you go to a certain like SUNY, New York and so, that's where the daycare for all these kids in the city that they got to move them out. They got to make the money, keep the machine going. It's going to ruin. It's because anybody that wants an education now, people see it. They're going to make sure you can get it, whether it's a skill, a trade, or something. If you're smart, you can get. They're going to give it to you. You might have to get stuck with a loan, but if you're, but it might kick you in the butt to get out of school faster and work real hard. But if this free education, the other idea that I got was, okay, when you flunk out, then they're going to start saying, well, that was kind of my stipend. Okay? So people start going to college, bottom line, just and flunk out after one semester. Have a party, be all cool with it, get down with, have fun, and then flunk out and then start complaining. There'll be a movement saying, well, that was my money. I'm a taxpayer. I should get that and be able to put it towards something else. Or something. I could see that happening, But first of all, it'd just be a party down school, and they just get slapped with a piece of paper and still have the same kind of problems that they have now.
All right. Well, Mark, we got to let you go and take a break from commercials. We got more callers waiting on the line. We'll be right back.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners, so that you can get involved in the activism. Please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the Red Pill.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed the newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
The newspaper? Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, a majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper does not give out the important attention on what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones to Joe in Tennessee. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Mike, I just want to speak to Attorney General Barr and President Trump, because it's very obvious to me that the FBI and the federal government is in bed with Antifa. I mean, and I'm just curious if this is part of the split government, the government that's kind of, against Trump. But, I was a 9/11 truth activist, And as an activist with the 9/11 Truth, we were always peaceful. We had flags. We never blocked traffic. We never pulled people out of cars. But, we had people try to infiltrate our group. I had an attempted entrapment done against me by a man named Paul Gleddy. He wrote a book. He didn't put me in the book, but he, that's what he did. He tried to get me involved in some black protest. He organized a rally in Orlando. You can Google that. FBI informant arranges racist rally in Orlando. We went to protest. We'd have guys on the roof with sniper rifles trained on us, and we were peaceful. But you see, there's a difference because we were trying to expose crimes from the U.S. government. Whereas Antifa, they're violent. They're beating people in the streets. 60 days of this, tearing apart buildings. There's no police on the roof with guns, sniper rifles trained at them. There's probably informants, but they're probably telling Antifa what to do because it's obviously a government operation. Mm-hmm. So if it is a government operation, Mr. Barr and Mr. Trump, is this part of like the spin-off government? Are you in charge? I mean, what is going on here? I mean, it's very, very obvious to anybody thinking American, especially like I said, I have like a lot of experience being part of an activist group that was peaceful and more about getting information of criminal acts by the government into the American people's hands. So I know exactly what you're capable of doing and what your tools of doing it to protests are and how you can infiltrate and how you can smear and how you can, like I said, have people arrested and falsely accused. I remember a lot of the hardcore right, which are very politically incorrect and the government doesn't like, they'll get some semi-retarded member to tell them to pack a car full of explosives. I mean, they've been known to do these kind of things all the time. But, for some reason, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, these things don't happen to them. You know why? Because they're sanctioned by the government. They are being run by the government. They're being funded by the government. They're being funded by you, Mr. Trump, Mr. Law and Order, and Mr. Barr. They're being funded by you, Mr. Trump. And I've been a big Trump supporter, but this stuff better end. I know you're getting like political mileage out of it, Mr. Trump, and maybe you figure, let them burn down cities. It'll help you get the vote out here in red country. But I'm telling you, I'm disgusted by it. And the other thing I'm disgusted about, Mr. Trump, is that you're really starting to come out that everybody calls you a racist. You are a racist. You're an anti-white racist, Mr. Trump. You go around giving money to black colleges. Black colleges, huh? Throwing money at them. Prison reform so you can get the black vote. How many of your supporters really are for prison reform?
Okay, well, Joe,
on the street.
Joe, thank you very much for the phone call and for your opinions here, but we're going to have to take a break here for station identification. Back with more phone calls after these few words.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we're going to go back to the phones to Lance in Farm Country. Hello, Lance. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'd actually like to talk about ivermectin. Now, it just recently, I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous here. Just give me a, ivermectin, on August 7th through Sky Australia, they've been running studies with ivermectin. Now, this Professor Thomas Berodi has been running trials in Africa with ivermectin. Now, as a farmer, I'm very familiar with ivermectin. I've been using it probably for 20 years now on my livestock. And I'll get back to the study. Now, the study and trials have shown basically that Corona is a very simple to kill, that they're getting, it has a few, with the drug itself, they're getting a 100% kill rate on the virus. And it's a great article to watch on the Sky News on August 7th. And I checked into this guy's study, and it's amazing what he's coming through with. What they did is in Africa, they ran trials where they treated half the people in the neighborhoods, half the blocks, with ivermectin. And anyone that was treated with ivermectin never got corona, but in the other half block, they did get corona. No one in the injected ivermectin block ever got corona in this trial. And then on his more close study cases, of course, when he's using the actual ivermectin on the virus, they're getting they said it was depleting by 500 count in a 48-hour time zone. What that means is it basically kills the virus. And his conclusion was that it is a very easy one, a simple one to kill with ivermectin. And also a Dr. Tak Allens is running trials in Bangladesh and getting a 98% success rate with ivermectin on 500 patients that they've been doing for the last couple months. And he noted that in the 2% that they didn't get success with, that they were suffering from comorbidities. So it's interesting that virtually he said that and these trials are still going on, and there's more trials of ivermectin going on in Mexico and South America and Costa Rica that are showing a lot of promise too. Now I want to talk a bit about my experience with ivermectin. Now I've been using ivermectin for 15 years now, and it's available to people that are in the farming industry, and it's very inexpensive. You can buy ivermectin in a gel form, liquid form, for $12 for a tube, and it could treat about 1,000 pounds worth of livestock. So virtually you get 20 applications out of one tube for your livestock, and it treats parasites and other elements. Parasites, any kind of skin disease, rashes, eradicates them. It's amazing. And about a year ago, my good friend who got me, who knows a lot about animal medicine and about the animals itself and ivermectin and treatment, he would say to me, I remember once we were talking about ivermectin, and he goes, Lance, you can put this on yourself. You can actually treat yourself with it. And I said, oh, come on, you're crazy. And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, absolutely. And he does himself. Now, he doesn't do it intentionally, but because he treats a lot of his livestock and everything with it, he literally gets it on his hands, and it just easily disperses into your hands and releases into you very easily. Can't remember the short and long of it. I've probably spent too much time here, but I'm absolutely convinced that this ivermectin is something to look at, and I think everyone should check it out. And being experienced around it for 15 years, I'm quite familiar with it, and I run an organic farm here. I don't touch any kind of chemicals or compounds or anything. I don't even take any pharmaceutical drug myself, but I would definitely put this ivermectin. And I've actually had a year ago, I had a skin irritation on my pig that was so bad. It was some kind of mites that I believe I got it in my scalp. Now I went to the doctor. I want to speak faster, but I went to the doctor many times to tell them, look, how can you get rid of this thing? I said, is it scabies or whatever? And they said, no, it's not. We don't know what it is. It's some kind of, they said, just try the shampoo and all this and that. Never went away. Anyways, I went with my friend's advice. He said, and I actually just put ivermectin over top on the skin condition. Now, this skin condition had been going on for years, actually, and it disappeared, went away. And also the skin condition on my pig, which looked like the same one on my head, went away when I treated the pig. Anyways, of course, I wouldn't suggest you using this animal ivermectin on humans, but I have.
Okay, I hear.
That's all I wanted to. I'm sorry.
I said I understand what you're saying.
Yes. So ultimately what I want to say is, me and my friend who talked about, we've actually just talked about this ivermectin thing because I just discovered this a few days ago. And him being a farmer and distributes his product to his animals and livestock, he's actually said himself, he believes that, of course, he's not going to get corona because he's so immersed with his ivermectin. And he's convinced that it would kill the virus because he's even convinced it would kill the virus. Absolutely. So I guess that's it. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's good information to have here. And, I think the fact that it's inexpensive is why it's not being looked at. The big pharmaceutical industry. And I noticed, by the way, the pharmaceutical industry is running all these puff pieces now on TV about, how great the pharmaceutical industries are and how we're going to save you and everything. But it's all about profit. It's all about, coming up with a new product that they can have market exclusivity on and monopolize the sales. Anyway, Lance, thanks an awful lot here for the information. And let's see. Before we go to another phone call, just got an announcement here. John Stadmiller, when he does his show after mine, is going to play the entire new Plandemic 2 Indoctrination on his show today, commercial free. So that's definitely going to be worth tuning into. Once again, John Stadmiller is going to play the entire new Plandemic 2 Indoctrination on his show today, commercial free. All right, let's go back to the phones to Steve in Nevada. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Hey, who is this mysterious Mike, and where does he live? In your basement?
You mean Mike in our control room?
Yes, sir.
Well, he's in our control room down in Round Rock, Texas.
Oh, okay. Another thing, this guy goes to a psychiatrist. He's, Doc, he said, I got a problem. I've been chasing cars down the street. I've been howling at the moon. And I've been peeing on fire hydrants. The psychiatrist says, well, how long you had this problem? He said, ever since I was a puppy. Come on, give me a little laugh.
Yeah, it's an old joke.
Hey, we're old, man. Anyway, so...
I'm not that old.
I'm older than you, I bet.
Probably.
So you got to repeat after me, okay? Put your thinking hat on. Quit leaning back in your chair.
Yep.
And you got to repeat exactly what I say. You ready?
I'm getting suckered in, but go ahead.
One hen.
What?
One hen. H-E-N.
Okay. Hen.
Okay. One hen, two ducks.
One hen, two ducks.
One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Close. We're not there yet.
Oh, okay. All right. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese.
One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four Limerick oysters.
I'm going to have to start writing this down. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four Limerick oysters.
You're cheating. You're in Mensa.
Okay.
One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four Limerick oysters, five corpulent porpoises.
Five what porpoises?
Corpulent, as in fat.
Corpulent. Okay. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 the oysters, 1, and then 5 corpulent porpoises.
You missed out one word. You already lose. I was going to send
All
you
right.
$100.
All right. Well,
So,
thanks an awful lot. I appreciate that. Anything else?
3 squawking geese, 4 limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 pair of very rare Dr. Barry's tweezers.
Well, you definitely would have lost me on that one without writing it down.
7,000 Macedonians in full battle array. 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt. 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetic old men on roller skates who have a marked propensity to amoricity.
Okay. All right. If you say so.
Okay. Have a
If you
good
say
one.
so. All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch to Mark inside the Beltway. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? This is my. I've been listening to the show for a couple of years. I really like the show, man. It's my first time calling in though, but I wanted to call in because I wanted to say something. One thing I wanted to say is crazy how like I noticed that everyone is grouping up. It's like it's this mentality going around where people feel like if you're not part of this group, if you ain't part of these Democrats or Republicans, if you ain't part of this religion or whatever, if you ain't white, if you ain't black, we don't even want to hear what you got to say. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. And so it's or that people feel like if you belong to this other group, or you're an idiot, ain't even no use in even listening to you, which is crazy because most people should understand that every single group got people in it that of all types. You got some people in this bad, some people good, some people dumb, some people smart, some of all groups. And so it's crazy to take a few people in a certain group and judge everybody in that group. I think that basically most people with common sense know you can learn from anyone, any group, anyone, or whatever. So I was just saying all that to say, personally, I know I can speak for most of the black people that's awake. I ain't talking about the rest of the other black people because y'all got the same problem that we got. Is where the white people that listen to your show, and we got the same problem because first of all, the people that you see on the TV don't represent the black people that's awake.
Yeah.
The black people that's awake, and I can speak for sure. The black people that's awake, we 100% don't mess with Black Lives Matter. We haven't been messing with Black Lives Matter since Michael Brown got killed because that's when they popped out of nowhere. And once we, most of us who start going on their website, start looking at their website, we was like, this is not what matters to us because they was into the pushing the LGBT movement and legal immigrants and all that. And I'm like, nah, so most black people, we feel like, of course, we with the idea that our lives matter, but we not with the group. Same thing with Antifa. We like, that's not black people. We don't even know about no damn Antifa. Same thing with, and it's like that when you put it like this. Anyone you see on TV, I don't care if it's an actor, I don't care if it's an entertainer, I don't care if it's a person who plays sports, they are under the control of certain groups. And they know they can't do and say certain stuff. And so they never represent us, for sure. Anyone you see in the Democratic Party, they never represent us. Anyone in the NAACP, and you can go on down the list. And so I'm saying this to say for sure, I can speak for all the black people that's awake, that none of them people represent us. Matter of fact, I know one of the big differences in white and black people who, when it comes to the political party is, most black people that's awake, we don't trust neither party. We don't trust neither party because in our mind, we feel like both of the parties are owned by the same financial groups and families. So it don't make a difference who you vote for. And y'all got suckered the same way we got suckered with Trump because, you know, of course, we seen Obama coming in our minds, we thinking, you know what? It might be a change. He might not be down with the secret group, you know, the black shadow group behind the government, whatever. But we all found out that was a lie. And I think they kind of got y'all too, because when y'all seen Trump coming, you're like, well, hold up, Trump, he's not paid off by nobody. He can do his own thing. Maybe he's not. But as y'all can see, y'all was disappointed because I know with me, I was disappointed in Obama, like within his first 6 months, because as soon as I seen that he signed the Patriot Act over again, I was thinking, why in the hell would he do that? But then I just understood. I'm like, okay, you know what? He's not down for nobody, but the group, they put him in there. And so, and the same thing with Trump. I actually was thinking, you know what? Trump might be someone different. But when I seen him go and do the same old lies about bombing Syria, talking about all the, their leader is gassing the people, I'm like, oh man, he just like the rest of them. So, but I'm mainly just wanted to call in because I think a lot of times people, like I say, they throw everybody in the same group and, they start thinking crazy. And it's like, everybody is not, in them groups. And when people do that, it leaves out room for discernment, room for compromise, and no middle ground. It's like, it's kind of crazy right now. Even with the whole Corona thing, it's like the people believe in it, and the people that don't believe in it ready to kill each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I'm just like, it's just wild because, I mean, me personally, I can listen to anyone. You know what I mean? Because I know, okay, for instance, I'm not a Christian, but I'm not a Muslim. I believe in the Creator, the All, but but at the same time, I can respect both of them, and I can listen to someone that's a Christian, and I can take the stuff from them that I know is a universal truth, and agree with it. And what I might not agree with, I might just have to be like, well, okay, I don't agree with that. And I can, matter of fact, see a little example. This sound crazy, especially me being black. But one day, I even wanted to see what what's his name? He used to be head of the Ku Klux Klan. David Duke. What's his name? Right, David Duke. One day I wanted to hear what he had to say because I was just curious. I was like, you know what? Let me see what he got to say. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, he gonna probably be talking all crazy and like a redneck. But I was surprised. I'm like, damn, you know what? He got a little charisma, and he's talking and he didn't even say anything that I disagreed with at the moment because he basically was just saying he felt like whites should live amongst whites and blacks should live amongst black, groups. And I was like, I don't kind of disagree with that. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that to say, I know some people who will be like, I'm not even going to listen to this person. I don't want to hear nothing he got to say. You know what I mean? I heard people say that like about Farrakhan. I'm like, Farrakhan, I might not agree with Farrakhan when it comes to the Islam belief system, but a lot of other stuff he might say, I'm like, damn, you know what? That's true or whatever. So I'm just like, but I know some people will feel like, nah, hell no, I would never listen to no Farrakhan, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Have you ever listened? Have you ever read anything he said? You know anything? You know what I mean? So I'm just saying all that to say, people got to kind of like use more common sense and look at the whole situation, not just be pumped up by the media, because the TV got everybody at odds. You know what I mean? People pulling down statues, changing names. And I can tell you, for all the black people that's awake, once again, we don't care about no damn statues or no name changes or none of that junk. You know what I mean? Like, issues that really matter to us is issues that has affected the black community, like mass incarceration. They, like Bill Clinton and them passed back in the day, and Biden was right behind pushing that. And hundreds and thousands of black men have been locked up since the 90s and the early 90s and late 80s behind all that. So stuff like that, I'm like, let them out of jail. You know what I mean? Because that's why to us, like the legal
Mark, I gotta let you go.
Slap in the face.
Mark, I got to let you go. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
Welcome back to our show here. And before we get back to the phones here, a reminder that John Stadmiller on his show today will be playing the entire Pandemic 2 Indoctrination on his show today, commercial free. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. All right, let's go back to the phones here to Chance in West Virginia. Hello, Chance. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Mike. You know, once again, I got to agree with Joe from Tennessee. You know, and you don't even need snipers on the roofs. They got these Orwellian weapons now. They got long-range acoustic device sound weapons to break up these violent thugs. They got the Medusa, the mob excess deterrent using silent audio that uses microwave pulses to break up these violent thugs. They've got active denial systems to break up these violent thugs. That's 3 examples already. Or does the government only use them on churches in Waco and maybe on us? Is that what they're used for?
That seems to be the case there. I mean, they've developed these systems to deal with rioting, and yet they're not being used.
Well, that's why Joe hit the nail on the head from Tennessee. Nobody seems to be addressing this. They just sit back and say, rah, rah, Trump, and meanwhile cities burn to the ground and people die. And this president, what is he talking about? Campaigning. Constitution Party in 2020 to break this death grip around Americans' neck. I just mentioned 3 crowd control weapons that will put a stop to this crap immediately. And what does the president do? He's busy criticizing a demented Alzheimer-addled brain Biden. This is a game they're putting us through. This is a game and people can't see it. Constitution Party in 2020, that'll bring this country back to normal. That's all I got to say, Mike. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to switch over to David in Boston. Hello, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
It's going to be a quick one. Michael, this is going to be a quick one. I wasn't going to call in today, but with the dog jokes and the guy joking around, but this is going to be a quick one. You know the difference?
I understand you, but go ahead and tell us what is the difference between the water inside a fire hydrant and the water outside a fire hydrant?
Okay, the water on the inside of the fire hydrant is H2O. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the water all over the outside of the fire hydrant is K9P.
Yeah, okay. All right. That sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go and switch over to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Good day, Michael. Good day to you. Yeah, to that guy, Chance, I just maybe thinking maybe Trump is trying to wheel in who's financing all these Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Maybe he's just waiting to make the move, but he's just trying to figure out who's the financier like Soros. And there's probably other guys like that Steyer and all these other criminal billionaire schmucks. Maybe that's what Trump's just waiting for, like he's waiting for the Durham report to drop. So we'll see. But yeah, there are weapons that I guess they can stop these rioting. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, Mike, listen to that Bill Clinton yesterday at that DNC. That was ridiculous, hearing that moron Clinton. I mean, this guy's a real cluck, and he used to be all right, but I guess his brain has got, who knows what he's got going on with it. I know he's with that Ghislaine Maxwell, but I didn't really call it. What I called really, Mike, I wasn't going to call either today because we've got a big storm going on here in Florida. It's raining pretty heavy here. But what I wanted to call is that one caller you just had a couple minutes back, Mark. And I wish Mark would do me a favor, and everybody, I wish he would watch that documentary, Uncle Tom, and then call your show back and just discuss Uncle Tom, because Larry Elder, Candace Owens really put that together excellently. And I want him to know that the Democrats have been in charge of the Ku Klux Klan. The Democrats are the main reason Mark needs to realize what's going on in the black community is in 1964 with Lyndon Johnson, they took the fathers away from the mothers and the kids and the black community. Up to that time, up into the 50s, the black man and the woman were always together. Almost 90% of black men and women had a household. After the civil rights, look at how many women didn't have men, Mike. And you know that story, don't you?
Yes.
Could you explain that to your audience for a minute, so I want to hear what you have to say about taking the father out of the household in the black community. I'd like to hear what you have to say for like 30 seconds.
Part of it had to do with freeing up the black men to be available for the draft in Vietnam. That was a big part of it. The other part of it was, to just basically break up that family unit, as a way of weakening the sense of community.
Absolutely. And that was very prevalent, for the last, 40, 50 years. It's been very prevalent. Most of these black women don't have a husband, over a majority. And you can see that. Look what's going on in Chicago right now, Mike. They have to keep the drawbridges up at night so they don't have looting going on in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And you got this Linda Sarsour, like George Soros, and you got this Linda Sarsour, Muslim, speaking at the DNC. They only gave Ignacio Cortez a minute, and she's going for Bernie Sanders. Mike, you saw that?
Yep.
Ignacio Ocasio-Cortez wants Bernie Sanders, and then you got this Linda Sarsour. She hates white men, white Christian men. Well, she should be booted back to where she comes from.
Tom, stay on the line. I got to put you on hold. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. Bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Tom in Florida. And Tom, if you could just sort of pick up where you left off.
Yeah, Michael. First off, Trump did a wonderful thing. I believe he did pardon Susan B. Anthony. I guess that's a good thing. I don't really. I know he's the one. No other president did that.
I'm sure she's deeply appreciative.
Yeah. And also to your caller, Mark, that guy that called in. I want to. Ben Carson and Herman Cain were considered Uncle Toms in Afro community. I wonder why, because let me tell you, Herman Cain, people don't notice, but that guy was actually a very brilliant man. He was very, very intelligent. He was, he was working with the Navy for rocketry. Did you know that, Michael?
Yes.
Herman Cain was very, very intelligent guy. He went back and got his master's degree. I mean, it was a wonderful story. Also, same with Ben Carson. This guy was a brain surgeon. I mean, he's at a HUD now. I mean, I really believe, Mike, if this guy Mark I believe if 20 million Afro-Americans got a hold of that documentary, Uncle Tom.
Yes.
I think Trump he'd get probably 50% of the black vote for sure. Well, and let me ask you, Mike, seriously, if Donald Trump grabs 25% of the black vote, what do you think will happen in this election? If it's possible.
It's hard to say. I think it's certainly possible that Trump will get 25% of the of the black vote, mostly because I think the black population is being alienated by the Democrats' support for Antifa and Black Lives Matter. But as far as how this election is going to turn out, I don't know, because the wild card is the vote rigging and that vote by mail stuff. And so it's in an honest, fair election, I think Trump would win a second term.
I absolutely, totally agree with you, Michael. If they don't rig this thing, Trump's going to win this thing in a massive landslide. But again, we know how the demon rats roll. I still say I like to see. I can't wait for this Durham report. I hope it comes out quickly. I believe Obama and Biden were culpable in trying to take Trump down. I believe Hunter Biden, like you said yesterday, that's got to be cracked. That case with Hunter. I mean, the millions of dollars this moron's making. He got kicked out of the Navy. I mean, yeah, Mike, it's just, it's unbelievable how the narrative is being run by all these leftist ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all in the tank. And it's sad. It's very sad that the majority is not ruling our networks or anything. It's the minority telling the majority what's up. I mean, it's absurd. But, this Linda Sarsour, Mike, I don't know if you know much about her, but I was reading a little about her. She really does not like this country. And she does not like, in particular, white males. She's this one, and the same with AOC, and same with that Tlaib Nasheed, and what's the other one? All of them. They're all in the tank for hating white male. The white guy's this white. Hey, if you don't like it, go back to where you come from. That's what I got to say. We're the majority. We're not the minority, but they want to turn us into majority with all this illegal immigration. And you want to call Mark was right. How are the illegal immigrants helping the black community in this country, Mike? For the life of me, I have no idea what's going on with this nonsense. How?
Well, it's the same thing that we saw in South Africa and Zimbabwe.
Well, I did do a research, Mike, on this. There's more white Anglos living in mobile homes than any other ethnic group. Not even blacks live in mobile homes more than white people. The white Anglos in this country, in the United States, which is the majority, are living in mobile homes where these minority groups are living in apartments and Section 8 housing. It's unbelievable. How can that be? How's that possible? That doesn't add up to me. You got Americans, white Americans, who've probably been in this country for 150, 300 years, and a lot of them are living in mobile homes. Same with the Afro-Americans, too. They shouldn't have to be, the people who've been here for 100, 200 years should have whatever they need out of this government, not to be subservient to you have to kiss the butt of the government. But you got a little illegal alien coming here and getting better health care, better housing, food stamps, welfare. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
And there's millions of white and black Americans who are not being treated right, who've been in this country over 100 years. That's something that has to be dealt with, and there should be ads run by Trump or whoever to say, really expose this nonsense. I really believe that Trump hits the right messaging. I believe he's going to get at least 35% of the black vote, Mike. And I mean that. And then there's no way they can say that the mail-in vote that Biden won. There's no way. I believe if Trump grabs 35% of the black vote, there ain't no way anybody can rig this election. You agree?
I agree.
All right. Well, thank you. And that's what I think is going to happen here. I'm hoping. And like that, your caller, Mark, I hope he goes out and buys that DVD, Uncle Tom, and he passes it around in the neighborhood there. And everybody, all these college campuses. I'm telling you, if all these college kids saw that DVD, Mike, it will shake. The Democrats they'll be destroyed. They'll be totally gone. It'll knock them out like out cold. It'll knock them right out cold, man. And they'll be on the mat for 10 minutes trying to wake up. So let me tell you, because Uncle Tom is very powerful, Mike. It really is. It's that powerful to me. When I watched it, I'm like, wow. And in the narrative of, hey, let's get the real truth out to the American public. No matter at what cost, we've got to get this resolved. And it's got to be taken out to the American public. Yeah, I understand a lot of guys calling in a vote and they're not Trumpers and all that. What a fine. But I'm telling you, he's a lot better than bumbling Biden. That buffoonery of Biden would be catastrophic for this country. Catastrophic, Mike. And I believe you know that.
Yes.
So That's basically all I got to say today. I hope you have a couple of good callers coming in, call in. I like to hear Miles and Kevin again. They got some wonderful points. So we'll see.
Well, Miles is
you got
in
other
the
callers.
queue.
You got
He's caller after next was Miles. Okay. So thanks a lot for the phone call.
I hope that one lady calls in. She's wonderful. I can't remember. She's from Florida. I can't remember. She's wonderful. I hope she calls in. All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Paul in Missouri. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'd like to ask the people some questions about this pandemic. If the government and the news had never told you there was a pandemic, if the state and federal governments had never shut the economy down, never forced businesses to close, never mandated masks and social distancing, would you even know there's a pandemic if you weren't being told there was one? I don't see people dropping dead on the streets. I mean, there may be some kung flu going around or some bug, but it's by no means a pandemic. We've been had.
Yes. We absolutely have.
I hope the American people will ask themselves these questions, question what they're seeing out here in reality instead of just absorbing what they're being told and going with it. Believe your own eyes, what you see with your own eyes.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Yeah, Chance made a few good points here, but I think what Chance needs to make himself aware of is these weapons he's talking about thrashing around out here are unproven. They're untested. And we don't know exactly what all they'll do, except they'll bring some type of harm. We don't know how drastic that can be. So I'd just like to warn Chance about that before we get out here and get Trump in trouble doing something that may perhaps be more damaging than anything that could be done right now at this point. We've got people pushing back, and that's a good thing. We're waking people up. So I think that's a good thing. And regarding the black kid that called in, I thought he made some good points,
Yes,
and
he did.
I share those sentiments. I think everybody should get to talk. I think everybody deserves to be listened to. When you're done listening, if you say that guy's crazy, okay, well, that's your opinion, and that's all right. But I think, well, why wouldn't we talk to people? Why wouldn't we listen to people? Let's hear it. You got a better idea than me, or the next guy's got a better idea than him. Let's give that a try. Why should we ever cut down communication? We do that. We're just cutting ourselves down. We're the ones missing out because you never know the value of what might be being said. And when it comes to Mark, in North Carolina, I like Mark. Mark makes a lot of good calls, but you gotta understand, Mark is with a socialist background. Mark, he wanted to support Bernie Sanders. Now he wants this other socialist from another country. But I think Mark is not watching history, because if he was, he'd realize that there's not a socialist country that's ever been successful in this world.
No.
Ever. And Mark, they're not too bad. They beat people up about. Well, that's not what it's about. What about property ownership? What about your Fourth Amendment? First thing, what about all your amendments? I mean, that's what you're talking about with socialism. What about your taxes, your right to own property, your different systems? So there's a whole lot to it, and I don't need any other. We got enough communists and socialists here as far as I'm concerned. But when you talk about Mark, you're not talking about somebody who's a constitutionalist or somebody, who's a conservative whatsoever. So Mark has those opinions, and that's all right, because Mark spurns some good thought. He does with me, anyway. I think we just got to be measured with these things. Joe had another good call. Of course, Tom is always on fire. He's always ready to go and got enough in the tank. But, I think right now we're at the stage, we're at a very precarious position. I mean, we can't do anything real drastic. And we've got to watch what we're doing. We've got to observe the whole pulse of society right now. And I agree with Tom. I talk to blacks all the time, and I can see Trump getting 35%. I mean, I saw a guy the other day with a "Make America Great" bumper sticker in his pickup truck, and he had like 3 or 4 kids in it, all I'd say under 11, his kids and him. And he had to make America great on his pickup truck. And I just think they highly underestimate Trump. And just for Mark, I'm not going to say everything Trump does is great. Trump does some good things. When he does some things that aren't good, I'm going to tell you they're not good unless I think they're good. He's made some big mistakes, as we all know, but I think he's done some good things. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he get one of those funds that are doing all this funding, one of the Soros organizations or something? Wasn't he successful at getting one of them, on the list where they were now no longer unable to donate in the manner that they did?
It doesn't ring a bell, unfortunately. You could be right,
I believe he did, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe there was one of them there where he was successful in stopping one of those organizations. But, some of these questions, too, that need to be answered are being by a non-responsive Supreme Court. And, are you going to blame Trump for that? They make a lot of these kooky decisions. They should, if in my opinion, they should already have stepped in about this mail-in voting, because I think it clearly defines in the Constitution how you're supposed to vote.
Yes.
And so why are we asking these same questions that we already have the answers to? It's like you said, Michael, you said this. I've heard you say this several times. Another 9/11 investigation, and is to do what with it?
I'm sorry, I was distracted momentarily, but
I said, I've heard you say this several times. We're going to have another 9/11 investigation, and that's supposed to do what?
It just gives them an opportunity to repolish the lies.
Exactly. And I think it's so clear now. This is turning in, it took people, I'd say decades anyway, to believe John F. Kennedy wasn't killed in the fashion that he was. And I think it's been a lot less time, and people are not believing 9/11. They're just not believing it in this day and age.
No, they're not.
And they're not believing.
They're cranking up a whole bunch of propaganda for 9/11 that nobody's going to watch.
Exactly. And they're, and the same thing, they're not believing this media. They're shutting this media down left and right. I just wish RBN and some of the independents could be the benefactor of that, because that's where the faith and the discernment should be. But and hopefully we'll get there. But Michael, thanks for another great show. It's always good to hear you. I hope you're keeping up your health, and be well, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot. And we're going to switch over to Mark in Florida. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thanks for letting me in, Michael. I just wanted to comment on the people that want Trump or the federal government to do anything for them locally. That the federal government does not belong in your state, in your county, in your city.
Mm-hmm.
People there need to learn how to elect competent people and not retards, liars, thieves, crooks, and criminals. If they let the rioters go wild, get rid of the government, they let them go wild. And don't go calling in someone else that's going to stick you in Katrina or stick you in 9/11 or stick you in any other false flags. If you want slavery, call Uncle Sam and he'll be glad to put his boot on your neck. But people, you've got to learn to pay attention and elect competent people. And it's that simple, Michael. A building will burn down, so whatever the problem is, when they kick in your door, whoever it is, if you don't have your defenses ready, you're going to get taken. Don't call in somebody else that's going to come in and not only maybe stop the riots, but they'll also start throwing all kinds of rules and regulations and things on you to make your life impossible to live.
Yes.
It's got to keep it local. And that's what I got to say, Mike. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. We're going to switch over to Douglas in Tennessee. Hello, Douglas. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I had a comment about the welfare reform.
Yes.
From probably the 60s. I've heard a couple people call in and talk about how they they removed the fathers from the home. And that may have been the result, but I'm pretty sure how the legislation went down was it said if there was an able-bodied male father in the home, then he had to get a job or there'd be no benefits. Now, I hear people representing it as if they told families that the father couldn't be in the home anymore. well, that may have been the result, but there was a
Yeah.
choice. You could have got a job, but he could have gone to work. I mean, that's kind of the way the laws are written, probably in my state and probably in most states. If there's an able-bodied person, you can get benefits for a short period of time, but then you have to go to work. You have to go get a job and start earning for your family. And I'm pretty sure that's what the legislation said in the 60s. I've heard a few people call in and say
Yeah.
that it removes.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
And
it's
that
not-
probably is
not-
probably why
that's-
we have that situation the other caller alluded to, of so many husbandless, fatherless households.
Yeah, the result has been catastrophic in the black community, and but that's not exactly the way it was represented by some of the callers. It wasn't. It didn't say that. It said you got to get a job.
Douglas,
And
I got to let you
ultimately-
go. Douglas, I got to
Sure,
let you go.
thanks.
Sorry. Commercial break. Back with the last segment of our program after these few words.
Hey gang, Patrick Slattery here with an important message that is pertinent to anyone who shops for groceries, eats food, or just has an inquisitive mind like myself. What I'm about to introduce you to is a segment of our food culture that has been kept so low profile to the American public that virtually no one is aware of how dominant it is on our refrigerator and cupboard shelves. What I'm talking about is the kosher certification industry and a new app, Koshertified, that delivers a comprehensive education on all aspects regarding this little-known practice. After reviewing this app, I found that it is useful for practically anyone who purchases food, regardless of their religious faith or identity. Its database of products not kosher certified is a win-win convenience for all food-conscious people. So why not check out the kosherquestion.com or click on the link at nationalbugle.com and see how modifying your grocery shopping with the Koshertified app can make a huge difference for your future.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
After about a month of Extendovite, I don't know what it is about the circulation factor. I was able to increase the weight, increase the amount of sets I could do. It has to do with the oxygen getting to the blood. You should market this as an athletic performance. And I don't change anything about my diet or anything. I just thought, this is amazing. Bilberry extract is got something called resveratrol in it, which is the same stuff that you get from red wine. It's also good for eyesight. And I was reading that the Royal Air Force during World War II would give their pilots bilberry jam so they could have better night vision stuff. This is amazing.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
And welcome back to our show here. And we're going to go back to the phones to Ken in New York. Hello, Ken. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Mike. Since Ben Carson was raised
Was there any explanation given as to why he was put into HUD rather than in a medical capacity in the administration? Because it would seem like someone who either joined the Army or got drafted, and let's say you were some kind of a fire control expert, you knew radar inside and out, and then they assigned you to peel potatoes.
Well, the fact that Ben Carson was a brain surgeon doesn't necessarily mean that he would make a good medical hospital administrator. And in any event, I think it was a case of they had an opening and they wanted to do something with Ben Carson, and he just got slotted in there.
Yeah, it does seem to be rather unlikely and far away from what he should have been. I'm sure, or maybe the pharmaceutical industry had something to do with it.
Could very well have had something to do with it, although I don't know that HUD necessarily, I mean, more like FDA and USDA would have been a choice position for that.
Yes. All right, thank you, Mike. Good night.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Sally in Alaska. Hello, Sally. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I just wanted to clear up that thing that I've only heard it talk about, the pressure that was put on black families to be fatherless if they had to leave. Well, when I was going to college in Kentucky, down Appalachia, deep in, they were being told that if they had somebody that was able-bodied, that they either had to work or leave the household. And so that went across black and white. And I was there to see it because I was in a social work program. And I just wanted to clarify that. It's not that I'm getting tired of hearing about boo-hoo, but it's a fact. It goes across the color barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So just want to clear that up. Thanks. I've enjoyed this. You have a good day and say hi to Claire.
All right, I certainly will. Thank you very much. Okay, we're coming up here on the end of the show. And of course, we're getting ready for day number 3 of the Democratic National Convention. And supposedly Hillary Clinton will be speaking tonight. And so I'm probably going to go watch reruns of Shark Week or something instead here. Donald Trump is on TV announcing that the U.S. intends to restore sanctions on Iran. And he's not going to be happy until we get a war going. And if he thinks a war is going to help his reelection chances, I don't think so. I think the American people are sick and tired of war, and they're really ready for this country to go back to being more of a peaceful place, and not just internationally, but in our streets as well. That one caller had a valid point. We have all these area denial weapons, the microwave weapons, the sound weapons. You know, why are they not being used in places like Portland? Important question there. There's the music. Time for me to get on out of here. Remember, John Stadmiller is going to be running this Plandemic 2 indoctrination on his show today, commercial free. So you want to stay tuned for that. Spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. We'll see you tomorrow. Aloha, America.